Okay, so NXT TakeOver 31 is in the books. It is very late. I had to watch this on demand instead of live. And, okay, so this is where things get a little weird. They're now holding it in the Capitol Wrestling Center. If you don't know, this is the new name for the NXT Performance Center, the WWE, or should I say WWE Performance Center. It's kind of a little bit like... it's basically, like I said, it's the old arena for the Performance Center. They're not going to be in full sale anymore, but it's kind of a combination of the Thunderdome and a little bit of limited seating in there as well. And they also have plexiglass and then kind of fencing up around the plexiglass to give it kind of a dark urban feel. And they played a nice little vignette explaining where the Capitol Wrestling comes from, and that's how it's the original name of the company that would eventually become WWE. Unfortunately, I couldn't really hear it. Not because it was late and I was watching it with the sound low. I had no sound for the first half of the show for some reason. I mean, it was just dead silent. Like, I clicked on, I even backed out and went to the pre-show, and that had sound. But this one is just, like, it was just dead silent, like, for about half the show. And then I finally figured out what was wrong. And I went to the audio section and I switched over to the Spanish broadcast, but the Spanish broadcast was in English. So yeah, things were a little weird here, so apologies if names of things might not be what they should be. I tried my best. I didn't want to have to constantly rewind back and forth. Anyway, starting things off, the first match was the North American Championship match, Damien Priest against Johnny Gargano. Right off the bat, Gargano tried to sneak attack Priest during the intros. It didn't really work because Priest caught him, hit a spinning heel kick. Gargano hit a chop, but then Priest answered with a big boot. Gargano eventually would start to fight back. He basically lured Priest out on the apron and hit an arm wringer from there and then shoved him into the ring steps. Gargano put on a half crab. Priest came back, hit a jumping flatliner, and then followed that with a series of back elbow splashes in the corner. Gargano countered a crucifix bomb into an air raid slam. Priest then hit the outsider's edge, I forget what he calls it out there, but on the ring apron. Like I said, with the sound off, it was kind of hard to remember things. Priest countered a slingshot GDT into a choke slam. Priest attempted to swanton to the outside, but then Gargano pulled a couple of the physio guys, the ringside technicians, medical technicians, into the path of the swanton. That sort of distracted the ref enough for Gargano to hit a low blow and then a super kick. He then locked on the Gargano escape, but Priest fought out of it. Gargano went for a slingshot DDT. Priest blocked it and hit his kind of rolling neckbreaker finisher from the second rope for the 3 count of the victory. Really good match to start things off, really solid. Glad Priest won. Can we please stop getting Johnny Gargano on these things? Again, this has been my problem with NXT, and maybe I haven't made that clear in my previous reviews, but again, I'm getting tired of seeing a lot of the same things on NXT. Again, we just had Johnny Gargano going after the North American Championship, like he did in the previous TakeOver, and the TakeOver before that. So, yeah, I'm kind of at my wit's end on that bit. Like, I think it's time for Gargano to move on, and can we find something else for him? Maybe something on the main roster. Could he be part of the draft, please? Again, and then we can maybe get some new storylines and some new opponents for Damien Priest. I think it would just be... Okay, our next match is Kushida versus the Velveteen Dream. Right off the bat, Dream came out trying to do I think it was a Back to the Future Doc Brown thing. Again, no sound, so it was kind of hard to figure out. But yeah, Kushida jumped Dream during the entrances, and Kushida hit basically a handspring into a back split, and then into a back kick, sorry, and then an armbar slam. He then used Dream's arm to let me think. He did basically it was called the Indian Death Grip Hold, except he did it, instead of doing it with Dream's legs, he actually did it with Dream's arms, and Dream again selling a shoulder injury at that point. Kushida attempted a handspring again, but he got caught in a sleeper. Dream came back in a Bronco Buster. Kushida fought out of a roll-up and landed an elbow stomp. Nearly got disqualified in the process because he kept stomping on Dream over and over again. Dream fought out of it. He tried to go for the Dream Valley Driver. He couldn't get it. Dream went for the Purple Rainmaker, but Kushida countered that into an armbar, but Dream fought out of it, hit Dream Valley Driver, and then went for the Purple Rainmaker, but he was in too much pain selling the elbow injury, so he couldn't quite get the pin in time. Kushida then hit Hammerlock Superplex, and he kept the Hammerlock hold on. He just kept it on. Dream fought out of it, hit the Dream Valley Driver, but again, Kushida just kept the hold on instead of just falling out of it, and Dream eventually tapped out. So yeah, Kushida looked really dominant finally. I know he's been banged up for a long time, so again, to see something and actually start to do some things here and to get some new lifeblood into this. Again, Velveteen Dream has been around a little too long. I think it's time we started to move away from him a little bit, especially given everything that's happened in the last year. And then afterwards, Kushida continued to attack Velveteen Dream after the bell rang and the refs had to break it up. So, yeah, like I said, a really darn good match. This was a really physical, brawling match, I think, unlike the last one, which had a lot more kind of sneakiness in it. This was just more straightforward fighting. Again, Kushida just kind of looked like a force, like he should be. So, again, everything's looking really good there. Again, the right guy won. Let's move on to the next match, which is the Cruiserweight Championship match, Santos Escobar versus Isaiah Swerve Scott. Right off the bat, Scott kind of rolled out of a head scissors from Escobar. Scott hit basically a corkscrew moonsault to the outside of the ring, followed with an Asai moonsault. Scott hit a turnbuckle, used the turnbuckle to basically do an arm breaker hold over the top of it. Escobar eventually came back, he hit a suicide dive, he hit a top rope Hurricane Rana. Scott hit kind of a corkscrew elbow drop from the second rope. Scott hit a rolling flatliner. Scott then hit a jumping DDT off the second rope. It's at this point that the other members of Legado de Fantasma interfered. I think it was Joaquin Wilde tripped up at, not Escobar, Scott a little bit, and that enabled Escobar to hit a kind of tombstone into a shoulder breaker type maneuver. It was not the Phantom Driver, I know that, and he only got a 2 count on it. They then kind of fought a little bit, and Scott hit top rope head scissors, which sent Escobar into the other members of Legado de Fantasma, but they sort of caught him and got him to land on his feet. It's at this point that Ashante Adonis interfered and took out Mendoza and Wilde. So they were, again, they were sent to the back after that. That enabled Escobar to hit the Phantom Driver, but Scott fought out of it. Escobar hit 3 suplexes, went for a frog splash and missed. Scott hit a 450, but only got a 2 count on it. Let's see, Escobar fought out of a hold, and in the process, like, Scott had a waist lock, I think it was on him, and Escobar had a back elbow, and that sent Scott headfirst into the ring post and a woozy, which enabled Escobar to hit a double underhook into a facebuster for the 3 count and the victory. Yeah. Again, this is where the audio not working for me didn't help, 'cause I did not recognize Ashante Adonis when I saw him. I said, okay, who's this? I went back and rewound it, turned the closed captioning on. I didn't get anything. In fact, I didn't figure out who it was until after they were cutting a promo or something in the backstage, which was sometime later. Again, this match was decent, but just, yeah. Good points, but again, just kind of middle of the road in terms of a cruiserweight match, and how underutilized the cruiserweights really are at this point. So, yeah, I mean, it's cool it was on the main show and not the kickoff, but that's about all I can really say. Okay, our next match is the NXT Women's Championship match, Eoshariah against Candice LeRae. Right off the bat, Shirai dropkicked LeRae out of the ring. LeRae tried to fight back, had a monkey flip, but Shirai just rolled out of it, and that really upset LeRae. Shirai hit an Asai moonsault. LeRae came back, hit a backstabber from the second rope. She then hit a standing blockbuster on Shirai. Shirai hit a double stomp out of a victory roll. Shirai hit the Tiger Fan kick and then followed that up with a missile drop kick. Shirai hit an underhook, boy, what did I write here? Underhook, backstabber maybe. Candice LeRae came back, blocked a moonsault. Hit another backstabber and followed that up with a lion salt. LeRae locked on the Gargano escape, but in the process kind of inadvertently struck the ref, who was distracted. It was kind of knocked a little loopy. They banged into the ref another time, again, kind of further incapacitated him. At this point, Johnny Gargano ran down in a ref's shirt, which apparently made him a ref, and tried to fast count Eoshariah, but it didn't quite work. The ref spotted this and started talking with Gargano, and as this was happening, Candice LeRae grabbed the NXT Championship and hit Shirai with it, but only got a 2 count on it. Shirai then hit a top rope Spanish fly and followed that up with the moonsault for the 3 count and the victory. This match was a little clunky. It took a while to set things up. I mean, once Gargano actually interfered, I think it did pick back up a little bit. But yeah, he was really good at playing the heel on that and setting things up. And it really did kind of look like, oh, he's going to... Like, are they going to do... Like, they just did this a couple months ago with the Sasha and Bayley thing, where Bayley put on the ref shirt, and that somehow magically made her an official. But thankfully, that didn't happen. And then, oh, wait, now he's distracting the ref, so is this how they're going to cheat their way to win? But nope, that didn't work either. It was kind of cool to see that happen. Afterwards, we then got, again, because... I guess maybe I haven't explained the Capitol Wrestling Center enough. Like, it's a little bit like the Thunderdome in that there's some fans sitting up front, but then there's a big wall of people who watch on screens, basically. And as that happened, suddenly there was this break, and Toni Storm appeared on the wall behind Eoshariah, and she said, "I'm coming to NXT full-time now, you know, and everyone needs to know it's Toni time." And then we got an answer to who the big returning star is. It's not Bo Dallas. I don't know why people thought it was Bo Dallas. The only thing I could think of is because it was on a motorcycle, and it was a similar looking motorcycle to the one Bo Dallas had in the Marine movie he was in. But no, it was not Bo Dallas. It is in fact Ember Moon is now back in NXT. Okay. You know, I love Ember Moon. I love her as a competitor. She's been banged up a lot recently. In fact, I think her most recent injury was actually called career-threatening. So, yeah, like I said, but again, this is another NXT retread we're getting, and I don't like it that much. I have my problems with it again. Just, again, I don't want to keep repeating it, but yeah, again, it's another NXT retread. You know... And like I said, I know that she really has not gotten well utilized by the main roster, but again, we've been down this road with Ember Moon before. I mean, if she comes back and plays heel, I guess that would be a little different. But again, when Finn Balor came back, he became a heel, so it's really not that new. Okay, and that leads us to our main event, the NXT Championship match, Finn Balor versus Kevin O'Reilly. So, yeah, I guess I gotta explain this backstory because I don't know if I ever touched on it. But, yeah, Dexter Lumis separated his shoulder during his match. Not Dexter Lumis, Karrion Kross, my mistake. Karrion Kross separated his shoulder during his match against Keith Lee. Even though he won the championship, he had to forfeit it almost automatically. They then did this fatal 4-way match between Gargano, Ciampa, Balor and Cole, and that just cheesed me off because there's 4 guys who already held the championship, and we could have had someone who hasn't held the championship before. And then through a lot of shenanigans, Balor won that. And then they did this other tournament thing, which Kyle O'Reilly won. and now we're kind of getting this seeds of dissension in the Undisputed Era. Are they all going to be behind O'Reilly or not? But I'll just say that didn't really play into this match at all. Although you did get Adam Cole kind of looking on a little seethingly during an earlier backstage vignette, but that was about it. Earlier on, like I said, a lot of chain wrestling in this one, given O'Reilly's MMA background, and so that worked out pretty well. O'Reilly hit a drop toe hold into a hammerlock. Balor rolled out of that and hit his basement drop kick, and really looked like he caught O'Reilly hard. O'Reilly then got another drop kick in his midsection and began selling a really bad injury at that point. Balor hit a couple more kicks to it. I don't know, it's like sometimes it was ribs, sometimes it was his stomach. He was kind of moving back and forth between that. O'Reilly fought out of that. He hit a jumping knee, he hit an exploder into a bridge, but wound up hurting himself even more in the process. O'Reilly hit a drop kick, a drop kick to the knee. It counted the Balor went for his shotgun drop kick or whatever it was called. O'Reilly fought out of a 1916 and tried to lock on a knee bar. Balor fought out of that, put on a scorpion deathlock. O'Reilly fought out of the Illy kick and then caught him with a lariat. O'Reilly locked on a guillotine and then hit a brainbuster. Balor hit the 1916, only got a 2 count on it. Balor then went for the coup de grace, but O'Reilly pulled him off that, hit 2 dragon screw leg whips through the ropes. Balor began selling a knee injury, and that began to allow O'Reilly to come back in. He grabbed on basically sort of a grapevine heel hook maneuver on both of Balor's legs. Balor somehow managed to fight out of it, hit a couple of quick double stomps, and then hit the coup de grace for the 3 count of the victory. I will say this was actually a really good match. It really made you think that Kyle O'Reilly is going to win this thing, and that he might have had a real shot at it. Wrong guy won again, even though I'm not entirely enthused with Kyle O'Reilly, because he's another guy who's been in NXT for a while, and I'd kind of like to get some new lifeblood. At least it would be a little bit new if he had won. And like I said, I don't like Balor being a champion again because it just feels so retready. And I'm sorry, I just keep saying that. Like, I want to love NXT again, but it's really making it hard when I keep getting the same thing. And again, we're getting, we didn't have Tommaso Ciampa on this, thankfully. But again, we got the Undisputed Era in the main event. Again. We get Adam Cole who was playing a role. Again. We got Finn Balor. Again. Candice LeRae. Again. Johnny Gargano. Again. Could we please start getting some new lifeblood in here? Just a little bit. I mean, I'm glad that, again, we didn't get another Gargano championship reign because we've had that before. Let's get some new things in. And I will say this, afterwards, Balor did shake O'Reilly's hand, and then suddenly Dexter Lumis popped out of the crowd carrying Adam Cole's unconscious body. And the rest of the Undisputed Era came down, and they looked at Finn, and Finn just said, I didn't have anything to do with this, he did this himself. And that's how it went off the air. Kind of a weird clunker. Like I said, the matches overall on the show were really good. A couple of them were kind of clunky. The Cruiserweight Championship match was really clunky. The Women's Championship match had its moments, but again, had some clunkiness in the middle. But it did a good job of telling a story. The main event was great. I'll give it that. It was great. Wrong guy won. And yeah, it sticks in my craw. I will also say this, a drawback is those audio issues. I don't know what was going on there. Because, again, I don't know if it was on my end or if it was just something with the network. But yeah, definitely just... Anyway, so yeah, I am going to give NXT TakeOver 31 a B. I definitely did think it was an improvement. I thought the match quality had improved a lot over the other ones. But again, I'm getting tired of retreads. I'm sorry. Can we maybe start to get some new opponents in here? Please. Can we have Damien Priest take on Cameron Grimes or Bronson Reed or Austin Theory or Tim Thatcher or anyone else but Johnny Gargano? no Tommaso Ciampa for a while. Kushida seems to be doing some things. Maybe he could take on Damien Priest. I'd be down for that. Let's start getting some new things in here, okay? Okay, so the next video is going to be the review of the first episode of The Haunting of Bly Manor. Hopefully it'll be up Friday. I can't say for 100% certainty. I have been called for jury duty this week. Now the last few times I've been called for jury duty, it's been settled out of court, and that tends to happen a lot around here, so I can't say for 100% certainty that's going to happen, but I have to prepare like if I have to serve, and I don't know how long it's going to be. So hopefully it won't cause too much of a delay. I could still get more videos out for the rest of this week. There might be another Madden video or two coming up around here too, hopefully. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions, where you can help me expand my wrestling coverage to stuff beyond WWE, NXT, and the occasional AEW free show.